Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots. Bootlicker, shills, debt slaves, serfs, peasants, vassals, minions, meat sacks, gold bugs. I'm usefully welcome. Headlines now, of course, are Elon Musk and Donald Trump want to go down and see if there's any gold at Fort Knox. And that's an interesting question. Of course, a lot of libertarians like Ron Paul have been asking that question for years. And all the rumors and conspiracy theories have been floating around for many, many decades. Back in 1980, Bill Still was a champion of whether to find out whether there's gold or not. And for those of you who don't know who Bill Still is, look up his channel on YouTube. He's a great analyzer of all things economics and other topics as well. But he talks about that a lot, and in fact, he was interviewed by a lot of major networks back in 1980 about this issue. And the Fort Knox has hardly ever been audited. Supposedly, they're audited every year, and the gold is looked at. That simply isn't true. And gold, there was a lot of hoopla back in 1974, and a handful of congressmen went in and looked and posed for pictures and had a scale and supposedly were weighing it. And so that was one of the last times it was examined up close. Franklin Delano Roosevelt went there in 1943 to look at that gold. But other than that, there really isn't too many examples of the physical gold actually being examined. The last year it was audited was 1953. And so that's obviously 70 years ago. And so it's pretty reasonable for somebody to want to go down there and check it out. And supposedly right now there's 174 million ounces. That's one of the other interesting things, is just finding out exactly the amount of gold that's supposed to be at Fort Knox. And it's really dwindled over the years. You'd think it'd be going up. But at the end of World War II, there were 700 million ounces of gold, 70% of the world's supply. And by 1959, it had gone down to 558 million ounces. By 1971, it was down to 291 million ounces. And now it's down to a mere 150 million ounces. So it's gone down 550 million ounces. It's gone down since the end of World War II. And ever since the 70s, there's been rumors that the gold was actually gone. And one of the parts of the doubts about the gold in Fort Knox is that when it has been examined, it had kind of a funny color. So it's almost like there's a copper content to it, or they're painted tungsten gold bricks, all kinds of theories about that. But I think the idea of going down there and actually looking at it and auditing it and making sure it's still there is probably a good idea. Because one of the red flags we've seen is when Germany wanted to repatriate their gold from the United States at Fort Knox and other gold storing facilities in the United States. It took them 7 years for Germany to get their gold back. So was it really that difficult to find the gold and then give it back to Germany? So that's definitely a red flag. But the bottom line, I guess, is that does it really matter? Of course, Nixon took us off the gold standard, so our currency isn't backed by gold anymore. And the amount of gold that the United States has held has obviously drastically reduced since World War II and is largely symbolic, and certainly it holds a lot of wealth. That's one of the interesting things too. The Federal Reserve counts the gold in the U.S. at $42 an ounce. Of course, currently it's at almost $3,000 an ounce. So it's kind of curious that they hold it in their accounts at only $48 an ounce. And so that's rather curious too. But in the end, I think the only thing that's important about it is that it's going to be pretty dramatic if they've been telling us all these years that there's gold at Fort Knox and then there isn't. So that's dirty laundry aired by the United States government, the Federal Reserve, and the Treasury for sure. But does it really have any economic impact or any impact on the real world? I'm not so sure. So, but just the fact that we've been deceived about it is kind of the story. But other than that, it's kind of a nothing burger. But anyway, that'll be great if Elon Musk and Trump go down there, take some pictures, and then find out there's no gold. We'd all love that, wouldn't we? I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too?